Today we're taking a hike to Avalanche Lake in Glacier National Park.
Come along with us. We have a lot to see.
Now it's going to be time to go into Glacier National Park, West Glacier. Okay, don't know how long this is going to be a thing, but this year when we're in Glacier, you have to have the Going to the Sun road entry ticket to even get into the park. So we went online and got this, but it sounds like there's a lot of people coming up here who don't even know about it. So that might be tripping up some people's plans. But we are set to go. We've got that. We've got the annual park pass. I'm going to see Glacier National Park.
Yay,
exciting.
Happy birthday.
And it's my birthday. We started our journey into West Glacier by first stopping at the visitor center in Apgar. It's a pretty modest-sized visitor center compared to others that we've visited in the national park system. As we've probably mentioned on other stops, this was a stop for us to get the stamp in our national park passport book. We're pretty good in the Rocky Mountain region, but we still have a lot to see. They have a small selection of merchandise for purchase, but the other reason you'll want to stop here is to get current information on hiking conditions. We ended up speaking to a ranger, which set us on our way to our first hike. All right, so we're done with our just about always introductory stop to the National Park Visitor Center, and now we are off to Trail of the Cedars, which will connect us to the trail for Avalanche Lake. So that is the first adventure of the day.
Yay, so pretty.
All right, accomplishment number one for our plan today to hike Trail of the Cedars, Avalanche Lake, is finding a parking spot. So we're here just about 9 a.m. and there's a lot of people here already. We were lucky to be able to squeeze into an area in a day-use campground that looks like it's not open for camping, but open for parking. So also was the advantage of having a small rental car that squeezed into a really small space. So parking spot. Now we're off to hike. Yay!
So Avalanche Lake, we started at the trailhead and almost immediately started following the river. The trail was right next to the river, and we did most of about half of our walk was just going right next to this river and walking in just these beautiful, it seemed like you'd be walking and you'd see this beautiful, beautiful sight of the river, and you'd stop and you'd look and you'd walk a little further, and then you'd see another gorgeous sight that was completely different from the other one. It was just really nice. The sound of water is always pleasing, and it cools things off.
The first part of the hike, there was a decent amount of shade from the trees and stuff.
There's
too,
lots
so
of trees.
You weren't exposed completely to the sun.
And it wasn't a hard hike. I would say it was easy at that point.
It's rated moderate, the whole thing, officially.
Okay.
And I think that's because of how long it would take somebody to do the whole thing.
Okay.
So like you and I, we've run into this before where we've had certain hikes that are completely level, but they're rated as moderate, and we're always scratching our head like, why is this not rated easy?
Yeah, and all we can think of is the length of it.
The time.
Yeah. We did finally arrive at the lake. It ended and opened it up to one of the most gorgeous views I've ever seen. Wow. So trail opens up to the lake, and above it is granite mountaintops with waterfalls coming to. It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. How many waterfalls are there?
Let's see.
1, 2, I see 3. So we kind of went down towards the waterfront in that area. Had a couple pictures, this picture view right there, and kind of sat for a while and watched that. It was stunning. It was just absolutely stunning. You can keep walking around the lake, and we saw the trail leading around the lake, and we decided to go that way. And so as we were going that way, it opened up again to this almost a beach.
Cold?
No, not really. No. I'm sure it's colder out further as it gets deeper. So once you get to Avalanche Lake, there is a trail that goes around it towards the waterfalls. So we're taking that right now and see where it ends up.
I think most people, though, when they do this hike at Avalanche Lake, and from what we observed, arrive at the beachhead of the lake, and then they call it as mission accomplished and turn back. But you can go beyond.
It's a little less crowded than the original beach, which is a lot more people now. And then it's just a closer view of the falls. So it's just a beautiful view. You want to come with me on my hike? Let's just hanging out. All right, buddy. This is the stream that's feeding Avalanche Lake, with the mountaintop and the granite and the waterfalls in this direction. And we kind of we're going to stop into the road. There's a very sketchy trail still going off this way, but I don't know where it's going.
And it's probably not like a real trail.
It's not a real trail. And somebody said you had to cross the stream, and I don't know where, but it would be hard to cross the stream unless you took your shoes off.
All right, so I think most people coming to Avalanche Lake probably stop at the main part, the first part of the lake. There is an actual trail that continues up the right-hand side of the lake, which we took. You get some nicer, closer views of the waterfalls here. And then we ventured on even a little bit past that, kind of forging our own path, up to about as far as we felt comfortable going. So you can, I think by this point, we've spent 3 hours going in one direction. So this is going to turn out to be a nice, pretty full day thing to do in Glacier National Park.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so just when we thought we couldn't go any further, we heard some people coming down from the mountain area, and it looks like there actually is a bit of a trail that continues. So you do get to a point where it looks like the trail ends, but you kind of zig and you zag a little bit, and there is still more trail to go. So we're getting ourselves closer to the mountains. We're able to see even more waterfalls now, so we're gonna keep on exploring. Once you got to that beyond spot, we kept hiking there, the views changed like even more. The landscape was so different, and we were so much closer to the mountains and the waterfalls, and it was just a great view.
Yeah, it was a fun hike.
Very fun hike.
I enjoyed it, and I'm so glad we went beyond, because I think that made it very much worth it. So we went beyond, and actually somebody had come out and told us, it was just gorgeous. And it wasn't as easy as the trail itself. There was some harder hiking there. You were going under fallen trees, and there was a little bit about ups and downs. So it wasn't as easy. And once you got towards the river, it got even a little bit more difficult. So it's not something that was easy.
Yeah.
I would call that moderate.
That was more challenging.
Yeah.
In the distance beyond there is Avalanche Lake, but that's the view from the other side of the shore. Probably a view that most people don't see. When you go beyond the lake, you get this wonderful, lush, green, thick foliage that is at the base of these mountains, where the waters are falling off of the high tops here. It's so cool beyond, probably half a mile beyond the lake. Wonderful. Limbo! That's all I can do.
So we hit the end of the trail for Avalanche Lake Trail, and we kept going. Firstly, somebody told us to keep, you could keep going. And secondly, it was it was a path. You could see hundreds and hundreds of people have taken this path. So
Not today.
no, you mean amount of people?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very, very sparse. It was very nice. So so I would highly recommend going past the end of the trail, and you get a really closer look of the waterfalls.
Yeah. All right, so apparently one of us knew on the way out that we were at the end of the trail. One of us did not ever see that sign. So when we were returning, I actually saw a sign that said end of the trail, which I didn't know that we went beyond. But as Julie points out,
I pointed out to you.
now when we were going, you didn't.
No, on our way back.
On our way back, when it was like we already went past.
Yes.
But as Julie pointed out, it says the end of the trail. It does not say do not go beyond the end of the trail. So,
We were cool.
so there you go.
Yes.
Make of that as you will.
Yes. It is a very popular hike. I mean, I wasn't sure how many people would be on it. In the beginning, you felt like there was quite a few people and that was very populated. But once you got to the lake and you went further beyond, you could tell that the amount of people became a lot sparser,
Substantially
Yeah.
sparser. Yeah.
which was nice too.
In fact, when I think back to everything that we did at Glacier National Park, this had to be the most crowded hike that we experienced.
Yeah, I would say until you got to that beach area where we actually ate.
Right. And then kept
And
going.
then we kept going, and then it's like most people, I think, from that beach area would just turn around and go back.
Yeah.
But we kept going. It is about a 4.5-mile round trip hike. There is an elevation gain of 730 feet. As we said, they rate it as moderate. I would say that if you go to end a trail and go beyond, I would call that moderate.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I think it was pretty easy.
Yeah, and we saw all walks of life on the trail. Young kids, young adults, older people. So, doable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we came back from Avalanche Lake and decided that we were going to take a very, very easy hike.
Yeah, so there's actually, in this area, 2 hikes available to you. One is Avalanche Lake, and then there's another stroll that's available that's called Trail of the Cedars. And I would say if you're going to do both of them, I thought it worked out well to do Trail of the Cedars at the end of the day. That way you get all your energy out for Avalanche Lake, and then this is just kind of a nice cool down experience at the end of the day. Trail of the Cedars is fairly short. It's completely level. It's an ADA type of experience.
It's ADA accessible, which is really nice. So if somebody has disabilities, this would be a beautiful stroll for them.
Yeah, and you're basically just kind of doing this, it's almost like a loop, and there's placards as you're walking that explain the different foliage, the different plants that are there. It's a nice nature walk. It's a mile round trip, and our whole day between Avalanche Lake and Trail of the Cedars combined, we spent 6 hours. So just to give you an idea how much time you can spend here, you can spend less time, but if you want to do, going beyond at Avalanche Lake, you can make a full day out of this.
And we tend to stop and enjoy moments.
Yeah.
We'll sit down at the beach and sit there for a little bit, enjoy that. That's the added time for us. You definitely can do it in less time if you just go in and go out.
Mm-hmm.
But there's too many things to see and too much beauty, so I would stop.
So when we were done with those hikes, we were still going to have the evening in the western part of Glacier National Park. So we got in the car and started to drive back. We like to stop and see things.
Mm-hmm.
And then as we were driving The edge of Lake McDonald goes for quite a while, and there was a number of turnoffs on the way, so we probably stopped the car, what do you think, 4 times, 5 times?
Yeah, at least 4 times, because as we were driving up, we noticed these turnoffs, and we're like, okay, on our way back, we'll stop. So we made a point to stop and check out all those different areas at the lake.
Yeah, and there was also an adjacent river. I mean, there were some like rapids that I remember. You know, we took advantage of just about every single pullover on the way back to the west side.
Yeah, and we were on our way to our lodgings for the evening, which happened to be in Coram. But it was relaxing. It was just a relaxing time. We didn't have to rush to get anywhere, so, you know, we wanted to take advantage of the site. So on our way back, we had passed Lake McDonald. That is a well-known lake within West Glacier. It does also have a lodge that many people enjoy for that lodge type experience. We had gotten up in the morning and started off to Avalanche Lake Trailhead, and as we were driving past Lake McDonald, we noticed the reflection of the mountains off the lake.
It looked beautiful.
Stunning.
Yeah.
It was stunning. We kept driving. Usually we would stop, but I think we had the mindset of let's get to this trailhead because we don't know how crowded it's going to be, how busy it's going to be. But we did end up stopping on the way back. Those reflections weren't there.
They were gone.
But it was still an absolutely gorgeous, huge lake. It's massive.
One of the places we stopped at just to take a peek around was the Lake McDonald Lodge.
It was pretty. I liked it.
Yeah.
It had some history to it.
Smaller than the lodge at Mini Glacier, smaller than the famous lodge at Yellowstone, but the same kind of style almost.
Yeah.
Just
same kind of style. It had a beautiful stream that was feeding the lake right there at the lodge. We looked around, we went out back, you know, by the lake area and just enjoyed that. It was nice. I would stay there. I think it was very nice.
Yeah, and I think if it was available during our visit, we might have stopped for a drink or a bite to eat, but the way things were set up during this particular summer, food was takeout only, so you couldn't, you know, sit in the dining room or anything. So we did take the time to tour the lodge.
Yeah, and they did. There was a lot of people that were coming from West Glacier off of hikes. I even noticed some people that were on the Lake Avalanche hike that were heading towards the lodge so they could have something to eat. So that was available to them. There was a gift shop that had a lot of stuff. I thought it was a very nicely supplied gift shop. At the lake, there's boat rentals. I don't know if they were running at the time. I don't remember. Well,
there's
seeing them.
There's boat rides that are available through the Glacier Park Boat Company, and we did see like one of those bigger boats.
One of the bigger boats,
taking people out.
Mm-hmm. There's horseback riding in the area. At the lodge itself, there's a gigantic fireplace that you could sit down and enjoy a nice nightcap at the end of the day. So it was very nice. It was a very nice lodge.
So we also had dinner one night, and this was fairly close to the Under Canvas location. This was at Glacier Grill and Pizza. So this was one of those just small town feel kind of places. We ended up getting a veggie pizza there. We got some cold beers.
All right.
Let me know what you think.
That is actually very good. And a finish. It has a second finish to it. Very good.
Huckleberry cream ale in Montana. And we did this one the day that we did the Avalanche Lake hike. So we spent like all day hiking. Our bodies were feeling that we spent hours hiking. So it was nice to sit down in the evening, share a pizza. What a better way than to end a dinner with that after a nice day of hiking. So Glacier Grill and Pizza, we enjoyed that too. So that's another one of your food options when you're on the west side of the park.
Okay, shout out to the people of Montana and the people in the Glacier National Park Trail. People have been really great, friendly. Shout out to Justin and Amanda and Hope and Faith. They were
neat family, huh?
Very neat family. Very neat family. They were nice to meet. A traveling nurse who, Amanda was a traveling nurse that travel all over the place with their family as she does nursing gigs across the nation and apparently maybe internationally. So
Yeah, and gives them an opportunity as they're doing gigs across the country to see the national parks. They just came from California, Sequoia, Yosemite, Redwoods, and we bumped into them here at Glacier.
Yeah, very nice family. Shout out to Deborah at Under Canvas. What a sweet, wonderful, funny lady that she really hit my tickle bone. I really liked her a lot.
Was making our stay there very inviting.
Yep.
Great.
Yeah, so thanks all to help us out on our travel.
Just got done hiking Avalanche Lake. So this took us about 6 hours today. So what was your favorite part of the hike?
Going beyond the end of the trail, of course.
Going beyond where you're not supposed to go?
Yes. Well, it didn't say that, but we went beyond the end of the trail.
We did, yeah. As I was watching people today, I think the majority of the people probably stop at the lake in terms of those who make it there. But you can keep going along the perimeter of the lake, and then there's the beyond the lake. And
it's a pretty well walked trail. You can tell a lot of people have done it, so it's not, you don't get lost. And it takes you very close to the waterfalls and there's rivers that come from that. And there's still a bit of snow. It's June, so there's still a little bit of snow there. And it takes you really close to that, so it's really cool.
Very cool to see. So one of the things that I liked was it almost felt like 3 separate hikes to me. So you start off along the edge of a river, and there's this saying or proverb that says, like, you can't step in the same river twice. I kind of felt as we were walking along the river, you couldn't look at the same river twice, because every few feet that you would walk, it's the same river, but it looked completely different. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then the second part of the hike to me was the lake itself. Avalanche Lake which was somebody made a comment that I've never been to Switzerland, but they said it's been described like, I guess, some of the mountain scenery and lakes look in the Swiss Alps.
Everywhere in the Swiss Alps.
Yeah.
Everywhere you look in Switzerland, that's what you see. That's what he said.
Okay. And then the third part of the hike was the place that you mentioned, was going beyond the lake, and there's even more to see if you extend your day a little bit. So enjoyable?
Very, very wow moments. Just beautiful. Thanks, Montana.
Yeah. Hey, so that was our adventure at Avalanche Lake in Glacier National Park. We're glad you were able to come along and enjoy the journey with us.
Thanks for joining us, and if you liked what you saw, hit the subscribe button and join us on many more adventures that we take. Thanks for watching us on the places where we go.
Today, we're taking a hike to Avalanche Lake. Today, we're taking a hike to Avalanche Lake in Glacier. So like, did I do something wrong, or were you just like blowing bugs?
Bugs.
Okay.
It was bugs.
So this is a blooper. Today, we're hiking to Avalanche Lake in Glacier National Park.
What a beautiful place. Gorgeous.
But we haven't gone there yet. This is like we haven't gone there yet. This is the intro.
I had no idea. You keep throwing stuff at me. I don't know what you're doing.
Okay. We're going to pretend like we haven't gone there yet.
Oh,
just like the video begins.
Okay, all right.
So that's our recap of the west side of Glacier Park. Hopefully you've heard a few things that will make your adventures in Glacier National Park smooth sailing.